is trained by me to be submissive and to yield as I am dominant in the lion knows. Today, I will show you my birthright. I will show you that I am still alive.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Big Dream Sports TV. We are sitting here with a new addition to our cast and crew. We already know our man Carl over here, sitting here, and our man Mr. Johnson. He's going to be, what we're trying to do right now, this upcoming football season, is cover more Collier County, more of those schools that deserve some recognition around Southwest Florida, and that's why we brought him in. That's his forte. That's going to be his area. He also does our podcast. He's a valuable addition to this Big Dream Sports TV family. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Johnson, a.k.a. Triple Black. You can call me either one. He say deserve, hey, about time we got some recognition over in Collier County. It's about Lee County, but, we'll get into all that.
We don't disagree with that one bit. The only problem we have with Collier County is they don't give Fort Myers water when we come down there. All we're asking is for a little bit of water. And, it's nice. Hey, rivalries are good to have. We can see, I can't wait for the season coming up. Huh? We can go back and forth all year long. That's what we do
Water
here.
is a valuable commodity. You actually have to play football to get water. If you're not playing football. Hey.
All right. Well, I just know the last time Fort Myers was down in Naples last season, what happened? A Fort Myers school.
They gave them the work. But they got the work the year before. But,
where do you
we'll give it to you.
Where's your opinion on this?
Listen, I'm always a Lee County guy through and through. I'm going to represent for Lee County always. So I'm looking forward to the rivalry for this season.
Absolutely. Oh, and for a little bit of special information that we figured out talking a couple weeks ago when we were in the studio. He was on a Naples team. When I was at Cypress Lake, we had a hurricane game, moved on to a Thursday. And we put it to him. One of my best high school games. They had 2 touchdowns, a couple interceptions. And we beat Naples. Cypress Lake beat Naples back then. That was big.
It would not be a big
Coach
Dream
Kramer,
Sports
I
show.
love you, but that was one of the worst decisions that were ever made in your coaching career, deciding to play a game on a Wednesday.
It was a Thursday, I believe.
No, I think it was a Wednesday. It was the middle of the week. I was in class, and then all of a sudden we got a call. We got to load up the bus to go to Cypress Lake, muddy, stinky field. Mosquitoes everywhere.
Here we go.
It wasn't. Come on, man.
Hey,
it's probably muddy and stinky, and mosquitoes still everywhere.
But you go to Naples High. It's a very nice football field. Naples has a very nice football field. Don't go at my guys like that.
I'm sorry.
But as the story goes, we had a hurricane coming to Southwest Florida that week, and the decision was made to get the game in before the storm came.
Sure.
So what they did, and the same thing happened to me. I was sitting in class, and then they called us in and said we're having a game that night. And you know what? Some people can strap on right there, right now, and get it done, and some people can't.
It's called wake up and go.
Okay. You're right. We should have been prepared because you guys were basically a one-trick pony.
Now here's the other thing, too.
Can I give the ball to Barry White? Yeah.
Can I also just say that these Collier County schools are not rough and rugged. They're using their turf fields, all their pretty paint lines and all that good stuff. When they try to come to Lee County, and deal with real grass, maybe some elements.
Yeah, some real old school gridiron football.
I'm just saying.
That's the cover-up that we don't really care about sports, so we'll just put anything on the field.
Well,
Collier County cares about sports. That's why they got the facilities to back it up.
There's no doubt about it. And that's why we have Johnson here now, so we can have these debates. We can have these debates. We brought somebody in to defend Collier County instead of being a one-sided argument all the time.
Right.
So, fair is fair. That's what we do at Big Dream Sports TV. Right. We're a fair show.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
I'm slightly slanted to the Golden Eagles, but you know I love Collier County as a whole. I got I'm living in Lee County now, but I got a little bit of love for you guys, but you know it's still.
Hey,
blue
we got
and gold.
a little bit of love for you too.
Blue and gold all
It's
the
all
way.
Southwest Florida. But speaking of which, I'm sure you guys have already noticed we're missing Mr. Andrew Layton today. Flag football tournament. Apparently, I got the phone call. They did win the championship again.
They did?
Bringing another trophy in.
Another one.
As Nicole would like to say, hashtag commitment. You know, we at Big Dream Sports TV, this is a family, this is a team that we have, but we have other teams that we're involved with. And, you know, sometimes you know, we put priorities in front of, you know.
I mean,
other
but if he
teams.
was going to miss the show, he had no choice but to win.
Right,
You can't
right.
skip the show and lose.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, at least he got that done. So if you guys are wondering, that's where Mr. Layton is right now. Maybe we might see him this episode. We might not.
All right.
But if we do, he's probably going to be just like the last time we were in studio. We were gone for 2 weeks. We did the beach thing, the Special Olympics thing that I unfortunately missed, and you also unfortunately missed due to circumstances. But it was it looked like it was a success. It looked like it was a lot of fun. The kids, we had a lot of Southwest Florida athletes show up and
That was
participate.
amazing, man. That was
And
amazing.
I think it was awesome. It
That's
looked
a
like
really
it was
good
awesome.
example for the kids, man. If some of the best players in the county can come out and support, man, then everybody can.
And it was the top notch guys.
Oh,
it was
for
the,
sure.
It was the big
For sure.
names from around
For
here,
sure.
and I love seeing that you guys giving back.
Absolutely.
That's what needs to be done. That's what makes communities better, stronger. And that was down on Vanderbilt Beach by down in your territory.
Naples! Oh, what a surprise!
All right. Anyway,
Well, we
What a
had to
surprise.
bring our Lee County boys down here because the Collier County dudes weren't trying to show
yeah.
up.
I mean, hey, we had to go do the
And where you from is where you at. Hey, you were in Naples.
The following week,
How you love it?
we're at Cypress Lake Hornets Field. We did some interviews down there, covered one of their spring football games. That is a powerhouse organization, not in the making. They've been around a long time, but they are going to have some special teams out there this year. They got a lot of athletes, a lot of good coaching, and they're blowing people out of the water this spring.
Yeah.
So that was also something fun we did. So we haven't been in the studio for a couple weeks,
Yeah, it's good to be back.
and now we're back. And so
When we come back, we're going to get into some NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about, we got a lot of stuff on deck. A lot of spring games took place. That's what she said. It's going to cover a lot of that stuff. So we'll be back in a short break. After a short break.
You're watching Big Dream Sports TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Big Dream Sports TV. It's getting to be almost June. It's getting to be a little bit hot around here.
A little warm?
Yeah, so that's why I got these guys are clowning my fan that I have going on in here.
I was clowning until you fanned me with it, and
Yeah.
I'm all right. I'm on board.
Right.
I'm on board.
So
I can't hate.
I suggest you get one of these. These are,
I can't hate.
I got a pretty little, what do you call these women?
Geisha
girl.
A geisha?
Geisha?
Girl?
Geisha.
Yeah, well, she cools me off. So anyway,
Let's talk
let's
NBA playoffs.
let's throw it over to
man.
Carl. Let us know what we're talking about.
We're going to talk about some NBA playoffs.
Playoffs?
We talking playoffs? Yeah.
Those are playoffs?
You actually do a good Jim Moore impression.
that's
man.
pretty good.
That's actually a pretty good Jim Moore impression.
That was playoffs? Are you?
Is that, yeah,
So I just came up with an idea for a new segment. We might have to have Johnson do a different impersonation every week to see what we can pull off. He may be our own Frank Caliendo.
right.
See what he's got.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk playoffs.
But I
So,
understand why he just did that. Those
Well,
are
of course.
playoffs?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
so have you guys ever seen a less competitive conference finals than the two that we're watching right now? And there's different circumstances, right? So when you look at the Cleveland series, first of all, LeBron's just going nuts. Nobody can do anything with him. Kevin Love's hitting everything he throws up. Boston doesn't have a chance. They're getting blown out by historic margins, which is just crazy. And then Golden State, Kawhi goes down. They're up 23 in the game when he goes down. Golden State comes all the way back and wins the next two games going away. So they're combined 5-0 in the finals. And I'm just wondering, I've never seen conference final series this non-competitive. What are your thoughts?
This is not playoffs. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, last year, I mean, it was a foregone conclusion after the finals that we're going to see the same two teams in there no matter
Especially
what.
after KD went to
mean,
Golden State, for sure.
I'm used to seeing in the Eastern Conference, like, Miami versus the Knicks going at it 7 games.
Right.
You got to bring it. Charles Oakley, Patrick Ewing just going at it. 7 games. That's what
Right.
Eastern Conference used to be, 7 games no matter what.
Right.
And you got this.
Right.
This is garbage.
Your question was, have you ever seen any, this much separation as far as in the playoffs, it being, these many blowouts? This late. I can't remember anything being on both sides of the
Right.
of the league,
Right.
being so separated.
I mean, I could see.
Usually you have one side, like the Western or the Eastern Conference. I have a good series, but
Right.
not both of them being so far.
Well, the
I mean,
first round
Kawhi
series,
Leonard going
1
down.
versus
Kawhi
8.
Leonard going down had a big part
Huge.
to do with that, because they were up 23 points in that game, and they looked like they were poised to give Golden State a run in the series.
That's not an excuse. That shouldn't be an excuse.
Wait a minute.
I-
Wait a minute.
I-
Wait a minute.
how
Hey,
is it an excuse?
Michael Jordan wasn't playing for the Bulls, and Pippen still made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right, but they
you
weren't
lose
playing.
one player. It's just the quality
What about
of basketball.
They also don't have
terrible.
Tony Parker. What about him?
Right.
So they're already down Tony, and they lose
They
Kawhi.
lose their best player, okay, their floor leader, and they're playing 4 All-Stars, 5 All. I mean, how many All-Stars are on that team? You know what I mean? I think it is an excuse.
Well, but at this age, what's the difference between Patty Mills and Tony Parker?
There's
Really?
in my opinion, there's a huge difference in terms of experience. That's a major playoff
Jinx.
experience. That's a major, Jinx for sure.
I
There's a
mean,
major playoff experience difference between Tony Parker and Patty Mills. There's a major consistency difference between Patty Mills and Tony Parker, because Tony Parker, you know what you're going to get every time he steps on the floor. Patty Mills can just as easily go for 25 or 5, and I think that drives Coach Pop nuts.
Right.
So there's a huge difference in my mind between Tony Parker and Patty Mills. So that's a really big deal. And obviously losing Kawhi.
yeah. Was that play dirty?
Ooh.
Yeah, it was dirty, because I think that dude was smart enough to know what he was doing.
Right.
What do you think?
I think it was intentional.
Well, I mean, considering that he had already turned his ankle a couple times previously like that, and it's coincidence.
So I'd say
it's not a coincidence.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not so much
It's a dirty
coincidence.
game. It's a dirty game, because you don't think on the scouting report or something, when they were scouting them before the game or coming up with a game plan, like Kawhi Leonard's ankle didn't come up over and
I'm
over
sure.
and over.
So let me ask, so are you insinuating that Golden State made a concerted effort to take him out of the game by hurting his ankle? Or do you think it was just a one-off, Zaza Pachulia made an ancillary arbitrary decision to go and do it?
I mean, if you played football before, if you know that person has a sore shoulder or an injury, what are you doing?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Those are
subtly, without a
really
penalty.
serious allegations. I mean, we're talking New Orleans Saints bounty gate here.
I listened to Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose, I mean, he doesn't have a reputation of a dirty player.
No.
But on his podcast, he said that this is something that they do. This is something that they do when somebody shoots. Sometimes you put your foot out there so they can go right on you.
right. Well, that's what I was going to get at. I don't
I mean,
think
you can
I
tote
don't
the line.
I
You can
don't
tote the
I don't
line.
think he was going out there concertedly like we're going out there to hurt him. I think there's a conversation. Yeah, he has a hurt ankle. Let's make him uncomfortable.
Yep.
Be around that. Make him feel like, you know what I mean? Not so much, let's go out there and make sure we hurt him. He rolls his ankle. I think there was a conversation like, listen, he's going to be favoring it. Make him feel uncomfortable. Make him know that you're there. Type of deal.
That's totally different than saying that it was orchestrated by
Right.
the team to go out and hurt.
Well, I mean, I really can't say it was intentional, but I'm just, from a psychological standpoint, that is going to be on his mind the whole game. That whole thing, that his ankle is going to be on his. If you have an aggressive defender, and you get in his head, and you're throwing legs and throwing things like that happen, and I think that defender went in the mindset, you know what, I'm going to do things to get him to injure himself.
Right. Well,
If you want to put it like, I mean, I don't say, I didn't say, you know what, I'm going to use this move to get him, but I'm going to make him so uncomfortable, he's going to be thinking about that all game, that he will probably injure himself because he's so uncomfortable.
So to branch off, So to branch off from the topic that we're talking about and these conference finals being so far separated, and
Yes.
You had a good question before we started about
Is this good or bad for the league? The NBA more so, I think, than any other sport, because one guy can make such a huge difference, right? I mean, just the sheer numbers, right? There's only 5 players on the court at a time. So one man is 20% of your workforce during any given point in the game. So one guy can make all the difference in the world. And you see the best teams usually win in a best-of-7 series. So is this lack of parity good or bad for the game, or for sports in general?
Me personally, I don't think it's a good thing. But it kind of, when we were talking about before about being so far apart, and I think a lot of it, and you were talking about going to, being used to the Knicks and the Heat and everybody going 7 games. I think a lot of this is the way the game's played now, and why it's become this way and so far separated is because if you're outmatched maybe skill-wise, as far as like if they have a Kevin Durant, a Steph Curry, okay, and those type of guys, and you don't have the same skill set, you're not allowed to go in there, bang them up, rough them up, make them feel uncomfortable anymore.
Right.
So I think that has a lot to do with the parity and the separation gap on teams now.
Yeah.
Because there's no alternative way to go about
if you have the
making
most
it
skilled
even
guys,
match.
you're going to dominate.
There's no easy answer. If you ask the NBA does not want parity because there's only about 5 markets that they even care about. If you ask the average fan, they say that they want parity, but they really don't want parity because most NBA fans are bandwagon jumpers anyways. If you ask basketball purists, yes, they want parity because, they're purists. But if LA is not relevant and the Knicks are not relevant in teams like, what's another traditional team? Like the Bulls
Chicago,
are not relevant.
Yeah.
The NBA doesn't want that. They don't want that. They want those teams to be relevant. But
The funny thing
to make them relevant,
3 of those aren't right now.
if you make the
my Lakers, my poor
everything
Lakers.
even, if you make everything even, it's not going to be so good for the NBA. Imagine the Milwaukee Bucks winning the championship.
Hey, they're coming though.
Come on, man.
Side note, Milwaukee's coming.
No, nothing against Milwaukee, but think about
man.
Side note, Milwaukee's coming.
I know,
but
but
The Greek
Toronto
Freak
winning
is
the
coming.
championship, that's not very marketable.
Right. Well, I completely agree with what he's saying. I mean, there's definitely a business aspect side of this in a way that the front offices and these owners and league offices control the way things are done. And that kind of trickles down to, the talk about, are these lotteries fixed and all that kind of jazz. I'm just saying, it all goes back to that. Because like you said before, when we were talking earlier, baseball has parity, football has parity.
Yep.
All these other sports have parity.
Yeah.
And, there's no ping pong lottery in those.
Well,
it is.
Here's what I think it boils down to. I think the difference between basketball and the other sports is that basketball, unlike baseball and football, the owners, the organizations, and the league really hold all the power in baseball and in football, right? It's all about the shield, right? Protect the shield. We hear that all the time. And I think the NBA, the players and the Players Association, has done a really good job of taking that power back, right? So let's say you're in Milwaukee and we grew up playing AAU together and I play in Dallas. When I'm a free agent, I can just go decide to play with you. Right. And if your owner is willing to play the luxury tax, let's just get together and dominate and go win a title together, right? That doesn't really happen in these other sports. So I think the lack of parity is a direct result of the power that the players have, and they can kind of make their own decisions and do what they want. There's only been 9 teams that have won since Jordan's last title in '98. Only 9 teams have won it, right? And they've all had 2 or 3 superstars that decided to go and play together, right?
Right. Well, at the same time, that kind of puts the onus right back on the owners. You kind of have to, like we were talking about again earlier, you kind of have to make an atmosphere to where that attracts these players. Somehow, some way, if you're Milwaukee or one of these off-market teams, Dallas tries to do it. Mark Cuban tries to do this. He tries to make an atmosphere to make the players want to be there.
Right.
And I think that puts that on the ownership and the teams that they need to be more creative. They need to figure out a way to make these guys want to come to their team. Because in the end all be all, at the end of the day, these guys can pick where they want to go when they're free agents.
So why does nobody want to come play for my Lakers, man? That's Hollywood, baby.
Hey, man.
Nobody wants to come to Hollywood?
Hey, man.
Sorry, I'm passionate about that, man. I'm hurting right now.
Hey, we've talked a lot about Lonzo Ball on this show. It looks like you might get your ball boys in LA.
Hey, I would take Lonzo in a heartbeat.
I think that dynamic is really going to change for the Lakers. And you can already see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be back.
And I'm a conspiracy theorist, but come on. How do the Lakers end up with the second pick? How? How does that happen?
Do you believe
because they had the
magic?
They had the most ping pong balls because
Exactly. There you go.
They got
Magic Johnson.
I'm just saying.
A savvy businessman.
Well, they had the most ping pong balls because of their record.
You will see the Lakers in 5 years, probably even shorter than that, make a dramatic turnaround.
Well, I hope that's
because
true.
they have Magic Johnson there, and he is an ambassador of the NBA.
And it is.
What they were lacking was they didn't have any true leadership. You know, Phil Jackson was gone.
Kobe set him back big time. Contract-wise, free agents didn't want to come there. Young guys didn't want to come there and play with Kobe.
Right.
That's my guy.
I'm not saying, hey, I would have taken, you rewind it and let the Bulls have Kobe. I would take the same situation, take Kobe a million times again and again and again. But at the end of the career, it did set the team back a few years.
And he's still taking 25 shots a game.
Exactly.
Right. And the guys didn't want, on top of the contract being taking so much money off the table, the free agents didn't want to be there while Kobe was there at the end of his career. Right. There's a distraction. They get no shine. They get no shots. And in turn, it set them back a few years. And now that he's gone in a couple of years, they'll rebound. They'll come back.
I found a way to get Lakers talk on Big Dream Sports. You know how happy that makes me right now? We had just Lakers talk, man. You serious? I'm happy about that. Quick left turn, though. To your point, quick left turn. To your point earlier that you were making about the parity thing. What do you think about parity here in Southwest Florida as it relates to football? Because we don't have much of it here either. There are 2, 3, maybe 4 powerhouse teams that are going to almost run the table every year, and there's almost zero parity. What do you guys think about that? I mean, you have one team, right, in Collier County.
We have several teams.
You have one team in Collier County that wipes the floor with everybody else.
Right, because they've made a commitment to win. They made a commitment to win.
But what does that mean, though? Like if I'm a kid who's thinking about going to a high school, what does commitment to win mean to me? Like, I know what it means. The abstract concept of commitment to win is something that we understand, but what does that really mean?
Lifting weights, non-negotiable. Grade, study hall, non-negotiable. You win games in high school in the off season.
Does it also help that they have the better athletes? Because that's something that we never really talk about. Because all the commitment to win stuff is great, and it's relevant, it's super relevant. But sometimes you just got the best players. Like Dunbar, if they have the best athletes, they're going to win a lot of games.
They are going to win a lot of games this year.
Right.
But let me say this. It goes back to what I was just saying before. These schools, there's different schools out there, just like there's different organizations to where winning is more important to them than other schools. Okay? And that starts with, and it really does, it starts with the faculty, it starts with the AD, the administration, the principal, and how much they're willing to put in to making that a source of pride in their school. Mm-hmm. It's more important to some schools than it is to others. It just is, and it starts from the top. Right. And it starts at the school board. It really does. Right. And at the same, and the schools that make it more important are the ones that make the atmosphere for these football players more attractive. You know, the facilities.
Right. Let me give you
the teams, the fields. Sure. They make you want to come there because it's important to those schools to win. Yeah. And it's not for everybody.
Right.
That's a good point.
And let me make a quick point. Like when Coach Kramer first came to the Naples High facility, right? And I remember that we were sitting in the weight room. He was looking at the weight room.
Y'all lift weights?
That's probably what he was thinking. We had stronger. We had like the hammer strength, just whatever. Probably like a week later, everything is being cleared out. That right there was a sign that he was committed to winning.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. And a lot of schools don't do that because the weight room is like a lot of football players, church or sanctuary. And it's almost religious. it's like you got to be able to change. You got to make a commitment to change all those things. And unless you do make those, it can't be a negotiable. You know, you can't just say, hey, you know what? Here's a sheet and do the workout.
Right.
Yeah. You gotta have a coach that's rounding everybody up, and this is what we're working on today. We're working on legs. We're working on what, and this has got to be a consistent thing that you do every day or every week, month after month.
Right. And you know what? And we've talked about it on this show with Drew before. You know, it comes down to coaches as well. I talked about faculty and administration and everything else, but there are coaches out there that love to be the coach, but don't want to put in the time that it takes to be a winning coach.
Right.
You know, hey, everybody wants to be the head coach on Friday night, but who wants to be the head coach in June? Who wants to be the head coach in spring? Who wants to be the head coach in the off season when, you know, it takes watching these kids and making sure they're doing the right things, and committing themselves to these kids and that program.
Yeah.
It's I'm sorry to say, but that doesn't happen everywhere around here.
Right.
Yeah,
it just doesn't.
If you want to win as a head football coach in high school, and you work less than 60 hours, you're not going to win. You got to make a commitment to work 60 plus hours.
And there's a lot of coaches that aren't willing to do that, and this is the facts. And you know, just is what it is, and that's the difference. That's the difference between why you have traditions at schools that are stronger than others, and why you have the same winning teams every year.
Yep.
Because they have their principles, you know, instilled into these kids and these programs, and it shows every year. So
great points about parity in football in Southwest Florida. Speaking of commitment to winning, the flag football champion did make an entrance into the studio.
I smelled him when he
walked
in.
Let's bring him up.
I smelled him when he walked in.
What's up, baby?
You know what I'm saying? We representing. What's up, Jake? You know what I'm saying?
Stankin'.
Hold it down in 4 miles like always. Stop feeling on my chest. You know, representing them all sweaty, hot, smell like 8 days of sharp.
Smell like victory.
Yes.
Came here smelling like victory.
And I'm going to let these boys get back to the show. Peace out.
Drew's in the house. Yep, so he got a little shine on. He does smell like whatever he likes to call it, 8 days of shark poop or whatever that. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what shark poop smells like.
I don't know how. I hope I never find out.
Me too. I mean,
Shark poop.
that's some weird stuff. So, hey,
We'll be right back with That's What She Said.
You're watching
Stay
Big Dream
tuned.
Sports TV. We'll be right back.
We'll be coming back. We're covering a lot of the spring games, too, so stay tuned. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Hey, local sports coming up. Spring football in your face coming up. That's what she said.
Welcome back to Big Dream Sports TV. That's what she said. How are you doing, Nicole?
I'm good. I was waiting on the intro. Missed it this
I
time.
know, we didn't see it.
It's all good.
So spring football, you have any scores for us?
Oh, spring football kicked off in a big way. There was some blowouts.
Yeah.
There were some rough games to watch, and there were some really good games to watch. I happened to watch a couple rough ones. I was at Fort Myers versus Island Coast. Thank God for spring football. It was rough.
It was.
Fort Myers dominated the entire game. Sias Young had a big game. Randy Boogie Smith is back. He took some time off. Dorian Felix had a good game. They were up 21-0 in the first half.
Well, it's only spring football. At least you can figure out what you need to work on during spring football. So
Yeah, they beat Island Coast 42-0 when it was all said and done, but it was, I mean, they dominated the entire game. Poor Island Coast just couldn't catch a break. Drove down to Naples and saw South play Barron. Another tough one to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, painful. It was painful to watch. It was all Barron in the first half. They brought back 16 starters.
Oh, wow.
Of which Jaden Roll, Dana Brown, he ran for 1,000 yards last season, so he was a big returner. Andre Satizabal, he had 360 yards on the night. They have a rising senior quarterback, Jacob Coleman. He was 11 for 15 on the night. South finally woke up fourth quarter. They got a late score from Ja'Shawn Jones and then Javon Thomas, which was a kind of a surprise in the game. He's a rising sophomore or junior. He had a big 2 running touchdowns. One got called back, but the last one stuck, and he had a nice breakout game. The Lehigh game, they drove down to Miami and played Columbus in Miami. They lost 35-0 down there as well. At that Barron Collier game, there was a couple college scouts out there. FSU was there, NC State and Tennessee were on site watching some of the athletes, so got some good exposure there at that game, but just tough to watch, man.
Yeah.
Spring football was rough this year.
Yeah. So do you think spring football is like any point to it? I mean, do you think it's important? What?
I think it gives people like us good stuff to talk about and speculate and kind of look forward to the season. But overall, it means nothing.
Yeah.
It really means nothing. It doesn't matter. It's a good opportunity for people to get hurt, I think.
Yeah.
You know, in my personal opinion, it's a good opportunity for people to get hurt. But you got all summer to work. You got good film with your returning players to dig into and really start to look at and fine tune. And like you said, you know, winning happens in the off season.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So we got all summer to get it together. I hope we do.
Yeah. So I had the pleasure of seeing Riverdale versus LaBelle. Riverdale won 48-0. We all know Riverdale didn't have a really good team last season. I think they only won 1 game. But just to see them blow somebody out, I mean, I think they have the confidence. So when they play in August, they would do a lot better. I mean, another thing I want to point out is their jerseys. They had really nice jerseys, like it was Army fatigue.
Oh.
So shout out to them. And then on the back, they had excellence, family, and loyalty on the back. So they had really nice jerseys. So just shout out to Riverdale. I expect for a great season this upcoming season.
That's my alma mater. Go Raiders.
Yeah. And also, Fort Myers, they wins the softball title.
I saw
State
that.
title.
The girls
Yes.
won state. Awesome.
Yeah, so I would like for, if you guys are watching, hopefully you guys want to come on the show so we can have you. I would
love to
see
have
them
you guys
play.
on.
Yeah. And then also I want to shout out a few girls from the all-area softball team, okay? For Fort Myers, Hannah Perkins, Vivian Pond, Jessica Wilson, Riley Ludima, and then North Fort Myers, Mackenzie Peterson, Natavia Ellis, Emma Johnson, Sararia Jones. Estero, we have Riley Ernest, Lauren Hobbs, Alex Salter, and then Mariner, Hannah Holloway, and then Bishop Taylor Filla. So that was all area. So good job to you ladies.
Nice job. Good to get some recognition.
Yeah.
Even if
so
you
it
guys...
shows if you want to go play softball, either go to Fort Myers, North Fort Myers, or Estero.
Yeah. Those are the
Because they have the
softball
girls, so...
Yeah. One last thing. We're trying to work together with the Quality of Life Center. Lakeisha Allen is over there. She kind of runs the show. She sent me over a reminder that they have their big summer camp performance. Their big show is Friday, July 21st at Dunbar High School at 6 p.m. For more information about the show, you can contact Keisha at 239-334-2797, extension 105. And I'll place that information down in the comments in case you guys are interested. Also, I asked if there was any openings for summer camp this summer because I know they run an awesome summer camp. They're on a waiting list.
Oh, wow.
So if you're trying to get your kids in this summer, get on the waiting list early. Cross your fingers. Maybe you know somebody over there. You can make some phone calls. But it is a great organization.
Yeah, it is.
They offer a lot of great programs for all age children. They do a lot with the arts. I know every year they put on a huge performance with dancing and singing, and they have people doing the setup and the set, and it's amazing. So go check it out. July 21st at Dunbar High, 6 p.m. is their big summer showcase.
Awesome. All right, so NBA playoffs. Have you been watching, tuning in?
Have not watched one game.
Yeah, but you're not really missing anything. The conference finals are boo.
I heard it's very one-sided.
It is. I'm just ready for the finals.
Yeah.
We already know who's going to be in the finals. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for us this week. Fort Myers High School softball team, we'd love to have you on.
Yes.
Make sure you get in touch, comment, inbox.
Yep. All right, then that's what she says. See you next week.
Hey, welcome back to Big Dream Sports TV. We're here in our final segment of the day, winding it down. Talk a little bit about spring football. We had a lot of games on Thursday, Friday night.
Yep.
You went to the Estero game.
Yep.
You got a little prejudice going on over there.
Yeah, I'm a little biased, man. They beat Golden Gate 17-16. It was a close game all game long. I got a couple shout outs though, man. A couple kids really played their tail off, man. The young QB Tanner Elliott, he's gonna be the real deal. He stepped up, threw a big ball down the sideline to Willie Neal to win the game. It's huge. Willie played his tail off. Jesse Vale had an awesome interception. Colin Semino tackled his butt off. My son Ethan Johnson had an 8 or 9 solos.
Shout out.
Yeah, he was creating havoc at the line of scrimmage all game. The O-line dominated, knocked the team off the ball, and had great pass protection all game. It was a good effort from those guys. We got a new OC there, so looking for big things this year out of those guys.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get a chance to go out and see a lot, but I know a lot about what happened during the spring game, and I've kept tabs on people, watching like Lehigh getting beat 35-0, South not playing as well as they should have, Fort Myers blowing people out of the water, and I watch people on social media talk about this, that, and the other thing about spring, and my thing is I don't take a whole lot of I don't put too much into spring football games, because in this era of school choice, with new players and people going here and leaving here, and then you have new coaches coming in like they did at South, and new coaches coming in, not a head coach, but they had a lot of new coaches at Lehigh coming in, and new players. The springtime is built for figuring out finding your identity, finding those young kids that were freshmen last year, sophomores, implementing them into your scheme of your team, on your team, and figuring out what works for you. So it's really a big test run. So anybody that's putting in a lot of say-so into these games, I think is missing the point.
Do you think that maybe
it's no different to me than preseason football or a scrimmage, to be honestly?
What it sounds like you're saying that this is basically like a spring league, for the free agents to sign to a different school. It's like just scouting, they're scouting each other, right?
I'm not saying
Lee
that at
County
all.
has open borders. We need Donald Trump somewhere to build a wall because so basically
put a wall around some of these schools.
So right now, like a Golden State team, is getting built right now. Basically, that's what you're saying. Evaluation process.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's a recruiting thing. It's trying to be a free agent thing. What I'm saying is, a lot of these kids are leaving, and these are new teams. These are new guys playing with new people, with new coaches, with new offenses being implemented, new defenses being implemented. And it's all new to these kids, and they got all summer to work with each other, and in training camp to work with each other. So a lot of things are going to change by the time fall comes around.
I think it depends. I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I also think it depends on what happens in your spring game. I think if you're a team who goes into your spring game and plays better than you thought you play and you end up winning that game, then I think you take a lot out of that game and try to build on that momentum. If you lose, then you have the opportunity, to your point, to go back to the drawing board and fix a lot of that stuff over the summer. So I think the way teams feel about spring, for better or worse, has a lot to do with what actually happens in their game. Like, for instance, Immokalee put up 41 in their spring game. They should feel really good about that. However,
Absolutely.
they gave up 64.
Right.
So if you score 41 points, you should win that game. You give up 64, so maybe they feel differently about spring than maybe somebody else like Fort Myers, who blew their team out and those kind of things. So,
well, by the way, Cypress Lake did blow out Ida Baker in their spring game. So shout out to my Panthers. But from what you're saying, that goes into coaching. You can twist any situation around as a coach as you want to. If you get blown out, you can go to your kids and be like, listen, guys, it's spring game.
Yep.
It's spring ball.
Yep.
We had guys playing this position. We were trying this. This is new. We're trying this new. See if it worked type of deal.
Sure.
And don't put too much on this.
Yep.
You can go that route with your kids. Be like, hey, we're going to work hard this summer. This means nothing.
Yep.
Or if you blow out a team, you play really well. You can use that as a rallying cry. Hey, we're going to be great. We're going to do good. This will jump us off into the fall. Look what we can be. You can use that.
Right.
You can turn it any which way you want as a coach.
And you're saying, but for your perspective, you don't put a lot of stock in what happens in the spring either way.
No, either way. I really don't. I don't think you're going to see much, and I think it's a lot. Any good coach is going to, they're evaluating players. Right. You're putting guys in there that you usually wouldn't maybe put in there.
And they're not rolling out the whole playbook either. They're keeping a lot of stuff.
Right, you're keeping it basic. Keeping it basic. I mean, absolutely. You got somebody like Chris Curry at Lehigh, and you're going to tell me he couldn't get one touchdown?
True story. Yeah.
Who said? I'm just saying. I didn't see the game, but I'm assuming they weren't really trying to put Chris out there too much. To get, you know what I mean? It's just
my perspective is way different because I think the spring is very important, especially for that freshman that's trying to make that leap to the varsity. This is when you make a name for yourself.
No,
right now. And, if you are, laying down in spring, basically waiting for the fall, that's a reflection of what type of player you are. You should be trying to go at people's throat every time you go on the field.
I completely agree with that. That's from a player's perspective. You should be, as a young player, that is your time to shine. That is your time to show these coaches what you can do going into the fall, why you deserve a spot on that roster, why you deserve a spot as a 1 or 2 or not be riding the pine.
Right.
As a player, that's how you should approach it. But at the same time, I'm saying that's how coaches approach it.
Right.
They're going to play those guys to see what they got that's coming in.
Right.
And, they're going to test them.
To your point, Chris Curry didn't score. That's probably never going to happen during the regular season.
Never again, probably. I wouldn't say so.
Right.
I wouldn't say so.
How many carries did he get?
I wouldn't know. I mean, I didn't research it. I'm not gonna lie. That much. Hey, Drew.
Yes.
How many carries did Chris Curry get?
8.
8.
Okay, right.
So there you go.
He's getting 8 a quarter.
That's not Lehigh Lightning.
Right.
8 carries of Chris Curry in a real game.
Right.
So they're not. That's to my point.
Right.
Well, see, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing Lee County, but I am bashing Lee County football.
Here we
But-
go. Here we go.
For what I mean, Coach Kramer,
Hey,
I
you
love
love some Coach Kramer,
right,
man.
right.
That's like the 5th time he said his name.
but-
in fairness to Johnson, it is not a Big Dream Sports TV show
Right.
until you shout out or plug your Cypress Lake Panthers.
All right.
So,
I'm gonna get it
in
in there.
fairness,
Yeah.
But
It's all right. He plugged Coach Kramer like 8 times.
what you see in the spring game, the carries and nobody's getting held back, is what you're going to see in the fall. And that consistency is one of the reasons that they win. They're a successful team. You can't lay down in the spring. I think a lot of teams have that mentality. You know what? This is just like, we're going to see who's coming out.
I think there's a difference between laying down and using spring as an evaluative period.
Right.
I think, that doesn't necessarily mean laying down. I think it just means you, instead of saying, okay, I'm going out here to really try to dominate this game, as a coach, you're going out there to say, I want to see who's going to be there for me in the fall so I can dominate games later. I think I lean way more towards OG's.
That's why you have
point
scrimmage
here.
games.
Hey.
That's why you have scrimmages. That's why you have practice.
That's what this is. They're glorified
it's
scrimmage
like-
games. That's what they
Right.
are.
But you can't, as a coach.
Nobody's going to remember that
I'm
you
just
won a
different.
spring game.
I don't think that it's. I just don't see how it's beneficial to go into a spring game. You know what? We're going to let everybody play, not just the starters, but the backups and everybody. If you come in with that mentality, I think that's a losing mentality.
I think they go in wanting to win, trying to win, going hard, and playing to win. But at the same time, there's guys you need to give a look in game situations.
You have to.
And it could, because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if you win or lose these games. I mean, it does mentally. And like I said, as a coach, you could twist that around any way you want to. But nobody's going to remember if you blew out somebody in your spring game next year or 2 years from now.
And God forbid you got one of your
good
top
for you if
players
you're the
balling
spring
out in the fourth quarter and he gets hurt in the spring game?
There's no spring game. There's no spring football champion.
Nope.
Okay? There's just not.
Agreed.
I mean, and I respect any which way a coach wants to go about running their spring
It's his
camps
program.
and their program. And if you want to play your starters and you want to play your 1s and 2s the whole time and try and win that spring game, and that's the way you go about it, more power to you. Who's going to sweat Naples for doing that?
Nobody.
I mean, they're successful. So what they're doing works. So if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But you don't think like a team like, for instance, Immokalee, they played Carroll City, which was the state champion last year, and they put up 41 on, even though they got beat. Mm-hmm. Don't you think that right there gives them a little bit of hope going to the?
Of course, absolutely do. But
right,
I think.
But if they would have just laid down for Carroll City, like, you know what, we're going to go in there, we're going to play everybody, we're going to give everybody a participation award.
No,
come on, man.
I think
that you got spring. Was it spring scrimmages and everything like that?
I think you're oversimplifying OG's point. Just a little, just a little bit.
I'm not saying they're playing everybody. I'm not saying everybody in the roster got on the field. I'm just saying you're plugging in guys to see what they got that are on that cusp of, are they there or are they not there? To where in the regular season, by that time you figure out if they're there or they're not there.
You don't want to find out that your
Some
sophomore
guys- some
can't
guys
go in the middle of a fall game.
Right.
You don't want to find out that.
Some
I
guys-
would have
you
already
know
done
aren't-
that in practice
some
and
guy-
in scrimmages.
No, there's guys that are always on the fence that are young that you're not sure, if they got it when they get into the game situation.
all
You're not
different.
sure if they're going to be able to handle that or not. And that's why you plug them into these spring games to see what they got. And there's guys absolutely that for 4 years aren't going to be much.
Right.
It's a fact. And guys that you can count on for the next 4 years. Yeah. But there always is those tweeners that you got to find out what they got. And that's all I'm saying is you use those guys. And you're giving them more tick probably than you normally would.
Sure.
That's all.
It's a great discussion. I think, to your point, every program's different. Everybody runs it differently.
Right.
Again, what Naples does works.
Absolutely.
I'm going to stop talking about Naples because I'm going to be.
No, that's your job.
That's what you're here for. You have to talk about it. Now, just because we're going to battle you a little bit, shout out to Johnson.
I don't want to
man.
be that guy that just sits there and talks about Naples all the time. All right.
Hey, shout out to Johnson.
It's Lately this time.
For joining the crew, man.
Hey, shout out to Kid and shout out to Jason Whitlock for joining our show today.
OG strikes again.
I'm not
strikes
cool.
again.
Man.
Ask him to sing falsetto right now. See what happens.
I was just,
He just called me Jason Whitlock, man.
Hey, man,
That's like probably the most insulting thing that you could have called me, man.
Hey, that's my rookie initiation.
For sure.
I did it to Carl.
Yep, I caught it.
Hey, I'm just playing. And
Wow.
You know what? Come, feel free. Feel free.
Open
We
season.
do it to each other.
Open
He
season.
just called me Jason Whitlock.
A little bit.
I hate that dude with a passion.
He didn't know that.
I didn't know that. And
That's funny because I was on Twitter and he had some controversial statements that he made about LeVar Ball, and I was just watching the comments, people are really going at him and he's going at people. Yeah. So it was just funny that you say that. I mean, I'm the Jason Whitlock of the show now.
Take it as a compliment. It's all good.
Hey guys,
All good.
I'm just messing with you, man.
we're gonna get out of here on that note. Shout out to Jason, aka my bad, Johnson, aka Whitlock. Hey, that was a Freudian slip. You put that in my head.
Oh yeah.
Johnson, you didn't do that on purpose, right?
No, that was a slip.
You're gonna have my social media popping.
Johnson Whitlock on the house.
Johnson Whitlock, OG, Carl signing off.
We love having him here. This was a great show.
Awesome.
Great first show for
for
Johnson.
You're gonna fit in well.
Yeah,
Shout out to
absolutely.
Drew winning the championship.
Yeah,
The
Drew.
girls killed
Yeah.
it today. Big Dream Sports. We'll be back next week better than ever.
Yes, sir. We'll see you next week.